Dream big, plan smart, build wealth. This is the TFS podcast, where money talk gets real and financial freedom is more than just a goal. Without further ado, let's dive in. Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the TFS Wealthcast. And today, as always, we have an interesting topic. Episode 9, we're going to talk about rent vesting. It's a term that's been thrown around for a while, and a lot of people seem to be doing it these days. And a lot of people seem to not know what it is exactly. And then there are also people who want to know what it is and want to get into it themselves. So, without any further ado, today's episode, rent vesting. Live where you love, invest where you can. And as always, joining me today to give his valuable insights is our founder and director, Mr. Pramu, Rodrigo. Hi, Pramu, how are you?
Good, man. Thank you. Yeah, it has been long days.
You seem very chill today, though.
Not too bad, actually, but I'm tired.
Okay. I don't want to take up much of your valuable time. So I'm going to jump straight into it.
Let's do it.
Oh, what is rent vesting? What is this concept?
Okay, so very simply, rent vesting is, think about the two words, renting and investing. So while you're renting a property where you like to be or the areas that you're really comfortable of living, but then you are investing in a property where you will get capital growth, rental yield, tax deductions, etc., etc. Right. So the people who
So basically, rent vesting is investing property
while you're renting.
Yeah, while you're renting. So you don't have an own occupied property, you only have investment properties.
Absolutely. So basically, if you look at it in a very simple way, now young guys here or young girls between 23 and 20, let's say 30, right? A lot of people get married when they come to late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
So let's say,
Unless you're from Sri Lankan background.
yeah. So we can't stereotype. Can we?
Late 20s is too late to get married. At least that's what my mother says. Okay, so
Yeah.
all right, sorry.
Your mother would be okay with me because I got married when I was, what, 21?
Ooh.
Yeah. In fact, today is the anniversary as
Oh.
well. Yeah. So I mean, anniversary in the sense today is the day that she actually said yes to me.
Lucky guy. That's the day your life changed, you know?
Yeah.
The best thing that happened in
I
your
got
life.
surprised that day.
Sonali, if you're listening, happy anniversary.
Yeah. So, all right, coming back to rent vesting. Yeah. So what I was explaining is people who are between early 20s to late 20s or early 30s who are currently renting in the places that they are very comfortable of staying. Right. Example wise, I'll take you, Vishy.
Yeah.
Right. You're comfortable
Oh,
of
yeah.
living in that particular place, and you don't want necessarily go and buy a property in, let's say, 40-50 kilometers away from the Melbourne CBD, right? Because
You know, you like it when we come on time to work, and I don't want to upset you by getting late to work, you know.
that discipline, I think we did touch base on Triple D. Remember Triple D episode?
That was a good episode, guys. You should go check that episode out. That was episode 5, I believe.
Yeah. So basically what I'm trying to explain is, now you may not want to go and buy a property 40-50 kilometers away because that doesn't serve your purpose. But then you like where you live, so you keep renting, but you're using your borrowing capacity to buy an investment property because that makes more sense to you for your financial growth. The terminology came because of rent vesting.
So on that topic, Pro, so who is rent vesting for?
Look, it's literally for the people who prefer to stay where they like to live and who can't generally afford to buy a property in those locations. we are living in Victoria. So let's say an example: if you're renting in a location where, let's say, Glen Iris, your rent per week would be between $1,200 to $1,500 per week. For you to buy a property in Glen Iris, you're looking at about 2.5 million plus, close to a 3 million,
And what would your mortgage repayments be on a
right?
property like that?
So you're looking at, so no, let's do very basic numbers, right?
All right,
So
guys, get ready. Promo's trying.
very basic number. I'm going to use a calculator
Promo's
today.
gonna impress you. It's gonna blow your mind.
So let's say we buy a property, or a person buys a property for $2.5 million, right? Borrow 80% of that, which is a $2 million loan. $2 million loan. Let's say I'm not even putting the principal amount here, but let's say the interest only component in the current market, you're looking at about 5.5%. That is $110,000 per year of interest.
Yeah,
Interest only.
interest only. Yeah,
So your monthly repayment is about 9,166 interest only,
interest only.
right? So, but then let's go have a look at weekly rent or weekly interest, right? So divided by 365 into 7, that's $2,109 interest only. For an occupied property, you can't go interest only.
Yeah,
You have to pay the principal.
principal as well. Yeah,
So most likely you will end up your principal component, I would say, about another $1,000 here. That's a $3,000
a
a week.
week. And if you were to rent in that suburb or rent a similar property, you'd be paying around 1,500 a week,
Yeah, 1,500 bucks.
$1,500 a week.
Right.
Yeah,
The beauty about that, because you're renting, you don't have land tax. Oh,
pretty much.
pretty much. And you don't pay a crazy amount of stamp duty to buy the property.
Oh yeah,
Two
that's
and a half million dollar
yeah. I forgot
purchase.
about that stamp duty.
Yeah.
So what, like 5%?
No, you're
Stamp
looking
duty?
at about, yeah, 5.5%, right? So I mean, it's about 120, 160, 180,000 dollars.
Yeah. So on top of your, so if you were to,
Roughly.
on top of your 20% deposit, you had to also factor in stamp duty.
Exactly what I'm saying, right? So you're looking at a 150,000 of stamp duty, the initial cost,
Yeah.
right? And then you have a 20% deposit of 2.5 million, that is $500,000, right? So
Yeah.
650,000 investment.
I
Okay.
mean, for sober, you can buy a property for that price.
Rent vesting is a way
Is
to way to do it. How many people would have $600,000 just to put, unless you have been in the property game for a long time and gathered quite a
equity.
lot of equity,
Yeah.
or you're from a trust family and your trust has enough money,
Yeah.
you're using the trust to buy you. That's a
Yeah.
different
And that
proposition
and that would
altogether.
be and that would be a very small percentage of the population as well, right? Who would have that kind of
Yeah, very very small.
money for investment. So if we were to give this advice, let's say uh, to a couple earning about a joint income of around $200,000, right? Realistically, what kind of a property purchase price would you advise them to go
Uh,
for?
from the perspective of rent vesting, you
Rent
mean,
based,
right?
yeah,
So rule of thumb, I can't get too much into detail because I don't know these couples,
100%. Yeah,
their financial situations, but 200,000 annual income, six times of that, that's a 1.2 million of borrowing capacity. Go 80%, the most likely will end up about a million of borrowing capacity.
yeah,
Let's share it even more, $800,000.
and
So you have
and that's a good purchase price.
a very good borrowing place for you to
Yeah,
be. Let's say you have about $100,000 of savings. Now you can buy easily an investment property using your borrowing capacity, not $1 million. You can buy a 600, maybe a $700,000 property, pay 35,000 of stamp duty from your 100K, you're left with another $65,000. Borrow approximately about 90%, right? You might need slightly more than that for that
Yeah.
example, but you can easily work the numbers down 650, 600, right? So if you buy a 600,000, it's a 30,000 stamp duty, right? Now I'm talking about your established properties. I'm
Establish,
not
yeah.
talking
The no,
buying
no, no,
land
no,
and building.
now the beauty of that is, if let's say if someone was to buy an off the plan townhouse, one part contract, right? They could save on stamp duty,
Yeah,
and also they don't have to start paying repayments until the property is complete.
that's the beauty about this, right? So when you pick the property, the type of the property, then your stamp duty cost goes down,
Yeah.
right? Which means you're borrowing less. When you borrow less, your repayment is lesser. Your yield goes up.
Yeah.
So it becomes, some cases, if you play your numbers right, it can be even neutrally cash flow. Brand new properties, most of the time, will end up as positively geared after tax.
After tax. Yeah. So there are also tax depreciations by buying a brand new property.
So coming back to your question,
Yeah.
who is it for?
I think
I mean,
we really opened up.
we broke it down
Yeah.
very quick.
I
I think we just started about 10 minutes.
think that's I just got an idea for a new campaign I'm running.
No, it's a beauty. It's honestly a great way to invest. Great way to invest without compromising your lifestyle.
Oh, that's a quote right there, ladies and gentlemen. Pramu Rodrigo with the quotes.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the truth, right? That's the truth. I mean,
Yeah.
very recently I advised to a client, um, the daughter and the son needs to go to this specific school. That's their life goal,
Yeah.
to send and give them an opportunity to, for their academia side as well as other networks
Yeah.
for their future. And every mother and father wants to do that. So that's what they want to do. So we were doing some numbers to see whether we can buy a property in around that area. So numbers, I mean, the borrowing capacity somewhat there, but then the investment that's required at the beginning to purchase that property is crazy. It's about $500,000.
Really.
You need that because it comes to the fact how much they will really
Yeah.
want to expense out as well
Yeah. Yeah.
as a monthly expense
Yeah.
towards a mortgage.
Without mentioning any names of more details, can you mention the suburb that they were looking for
So
this?
they were looking about, Camberwell, Glen
Oh,
Iris,
yeah.
Canterbury, Surrey Hills, that side of the
Yeah,
town.
those are the big boys.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
The reason they want to obviously come down to that side is
Because
to
better schools.
get closer to the schools that they want to
Yeah.
send their children. Now, $500,000 investment is actually, that person could do it in about few years later, right? However, the problem is, in few years later, you might, 500,000 may not be enough. It could be a $700,000. So I ask the question, what are you willing to invest now? Let's assume that you can buy. What exactly are you willing to do it now? So the answer was about $300,000, right? So $300,000, I said, okay, nowhere near what we can buy in this area for you. But if you go to this area to invest, not to invest, if you go to this area to rent a property and buy an investment property in an area with 300,000, maybe with your borrowing capacity, I could possibly even work around two investment properties in two different areas. Then the fellow is like, okay, that makes sense. How can I buy two? I said, oh, don't get carried away. These are possibilities we can explore.
Yeah. It all comes down to the numbers, right?
The numbers. So, but then the numbers actually ended up stacking up at a crazy level.
Also in their favor.
Yeah, because there's two investment properties the customer is actually ended up buying in two different locations while they're renting in the place
In
they
the
want
place
to
they
be.
want to be.
They had a $300,000 to invest.
Yeah.
I said, no, think about it. You invest the $300,000, get a ROI from it. Maybe if you do this right, in about 3-4 years later, we could actually buy that $3 million, $4 million house in that area. Is that okay, sir? Was the question.
Yeah.
I said, yep, it's no problems for me because I'm in the area I want to be. Kids are happy. Easy drive for me for school drop off, work, and my lifestyle. Yeah, where
And
you want me to sign?
and the beauty of that is that it all came down to you gave the customer a tailored strategy that would work for them after assessing and
Yeah,
analyzing the current financial circumstances,
it
right?
all comes to that.
You didn't just go to give them a strategy thinking, oh yeah, this might work for you.
Yeah,
You actually looked at their situation, their expenses, their
what
income,
exactly they want to do?
exactly what they wanted to do.
Right?
Right? So
All these strategies, people sometimes they stuff up. The words I want to use, I
yeah,
can't use. Right? They stuff it up without knowing exactly
not-
the customer actually wants.
yeah, exactly. So sometimes, you know, if they get the advice from the wrong people,
Yeah.
not to put anyone down, but it might not be the best thing for the customer.
No, I mean this is an ideal customer for me, right? Because I like customers like that who has realistic expectations,
I love those customers.
right? Ideal customer for me because he's willing to listen to the strategy I have and the possibilities. He's letting me to go and explore the possibilities and then make the decision together. Brilliant.
Yeah. And it all comes down to a sense of trust as well, right? Between the customer and yourself or any other broker.
Never going to come down to the level wishy that hey, buy this, this is it. You can't get anything else better than this, so buy this.
Yeah.
No, I never worked that way, right? And I don't think any of our team members work that way. We always look at the numbers. End of the day, I always tell my clients, you need to make sure the number stacks up for you. It's not the numbers. The bank will tell you that stacks up for them.
Yeah. Like 50 cents says, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, Pramu, thank you for sharing that example. I'm pretty sure, it really enlightened me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll help the listeners as well. So now, if we would break it down, okay, let's talk about, because there's always good and bad in everything. So let's start with pros
Yeah.
and let's move on to the cons. Or do you want to do vice versa? Uno reverse, start with the cons, then talk about pros. Let's start with the cons.
How would you like it?
Let's start. Let's start with the bad first. So then we can show the good.
Okay.
What are the cons?
So your interest rates are high to start with if you're lending,
Okay.
right? I mean, maybe it's not if you're lending, if you when you're borrowing,
Yeah.
right? When you're borrowing from a lender, your investment interest only, or investment principal and interest rates are higher than the own occupied rate.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you mentioned investment principal and interest. So you start with you go basically, you go 2 years interest only, and then you keep increasing the interest term, right? That's
It depends. It's I have customers who never paid their principal for the last 10 years.
yeah, exactly. So that's what I just wanted to.
Right. I always say, I mean, if you can have your mindset
Yeah.
set up to pay the interest and gain all the benefits from tax benefits
Yeah.
to capital gain, if you have that mindset, then you go interest only. But again, I'm not mindset coach.
Yeah.
I'm not here to change your mindset. I will do what you would want me to do at some point.
Yeah.
I can give you a path. But if they say, now I want to pay the principal and interest, no problems. But bank is say, hey, you're buying an investment property. I'm not giving, then they're never going to give you a own occupied loan because you're buying an investment
Investment
property.
property. Yeah.
They'll give you an investment loan. The rates are higher. Slightly.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but slightly.
Yeah.
Right.
I just wanted to bring that up because at the start we said, if you buy an own occupied, you have to pay principal. You buy an investment, you only pay interest only. So just wanted to clarify that out in case we have any first time listeners or
Yeah.
individuals who are just thinking about getting into the property market and don't really understand the concepts yet.
Yeah. Go to the season 2, one of the episodes we did about debt, bad debts and good debts.
Yeah. Episode number 4.
There you go. When you buying when you buy a house for you to live, own occupied house, that loan is a bad debt. So therefore, start paying it down quickly. Don't wait for 30 years to do it. When you buy an investment loan from a bank, that's a good debt. Keep it much as you can.
Yeah. Oh, guys, to make it even easier, just give us a call if you want to know more. There we go.
Okay, so that's interest rates, and then obviously it comes down cost. So there are a few costs comes with it, right? Now, investment property, you have real estate agents cost, who's going to manage the property, council rates, water rates. These are simple costs
Yeah.
anyway. Any property you buy, you're going to have that.
Land tax.
Yeah, land tax. Then you got to have an accounting cost. Your accountant is going to charge you slightly an extra because you have an investment property, right? Then CGT, when you decide to sell it at some point. Now, to avoid paying CGT, there are ways of doing it, but it comes to the fact what kind of a structure you are using to buy this
Yeah.
property, whether it's a personal name, you're going to end
Yeah.
up paying CGT.
You need a good financial planner and a tax accountant and a tax accountant. And
And
talk,
then,
you want, if you,
then you're going to have a good set
yeah.
of team of finance advisors.
I'm gonna do some marketing promotions here. And if you want to get all that in one place, guys, come to TFS.
No, it's very important, right? So where was I? So I was talking about the cost,
Cost,
right? So CGT will come into play if you're going to buy the property under your personal name. There are other ways of trust, PTY Limited, to avoid CGT, but then it also has its own cost, right? You're not going to avoid these things. That's going to be there. So it's a costly
endeavor.
endeavor. Everything is costly.
But like we mentioned, if they buy something off the plan, they can save on stamp duty.
Reduce.
They can reduce some of these costs drastically. I mean,
Yeah.
they can save on stamp duty.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember, there's a lot more cost, right?
Yeah.
I was just noting down a
Which
few
is
things.
just surface level costs. Yeah.
Insurance costs, list goes on.
Yeah. Sometimes.
But they are not like $50,000 worth of cost for you for a year
Yeah.
for an investment, right? The good thing about these costs, they are tax deductible. Okay, so these are some of the disadvantages of buying
Buying an
investment
investment.
property buying investment property, not just as a rented investor as well.
Yeah.
I mean, any investor who's going to have this cost.
On that note, bro, if you're a first home buyer and you
Mhm.
decide to buy an investment property first instead of using the first home buyer incentives given
Mm.
by the government, are they still eligible for the first home buyer incentives if they go down that path?
You're putting me on the spot here.
Pistol pointing at you.
Um, Look, it's yes and no. Some of the benefits, incentives you can get when you're buying your own property later,
Okay,
right?
that's interesting. I'm listening. Everyone is.
Some you can't,
Okay.
because it specifically says those incentives, eligibility criteria. This must be your first
Name.
property that you will be owning, right? There are a few legal terms that people use, but very simple way. Some you won't get it, some you will still get it.
Yeah.
Want to find out more?
Give us a call. There you go.
I'm not gonna walk into that trap, man. No. Because it's look. If I'm gonna start talking about those things, how to get those things done, Vishy, that's another episode itself, right? The way to do it, how to do it. List goes on. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we just got a text message from a date, I believe, and
I'm too. Those things don't excite me anymore, guys. I'm old now. When I get
he's looking
discounts,
at
when
the
I get
phone.
discounts from Bunnings, or when I get discounts from Super Cheap Bottle, that's when
That's where his eyebrows goes. Oh, super cheap. Really? Wow. Okay.
Awesome.
Right.
So now that we spoke about the cons, the bad, now
Yeah.
now let's put a smile on your faces, guys, and let's talk about the pros, Pramu.
Yeah.
What are the pros of buying an investment property?
Look, man, buying an investment property in Australia, the first advantage you're going to have if you do it right, capital growth. It means you are increasing your wealth,
Yeah.
right? Your invested money is doubling. A lot of people, I tell this all the time, do not think the purchase price is doubling. Think about the money you actually invested
Invested.
doubling.
Yeah. Exactly, because it all comes because you're borrowing money from the bank, and you need to actually look at your deposit.
Yeah. You put $100,000 in 5 years later, or look, even in a
Let's take one
2 years,
let's take one of your examples. The property you bought in Ballarat
oh my God,
in 2020. When was that?
that was 2023. I settled.
Okay.
Man, that's
Guess get ready for
you
this, guys.
kind of early,
Get
right?
ready for this.
Right, okay, so I'm gonna
Purchase
apologize
price.
first of all
Okay.
for some of the if they tend to listen to this, right? So there were so this property in 2023, I bought it in Ballarat, Alfredton. I always advocate this property, this area, to a lot of my investors to buy because it's a good area at that particular point. So I, as you know, we see, uh, I always do it before and tell my investors do that.
After.
If it works.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, I say
Don't do
don't.
that. You know,
Lost
I I already burned my finger.
we don't do it.
Yeah.
But this was one of those things. I mean, I don't mind sharing the numbers. I bought it for 483, 2023.
Yeah.
Again, house and land, right? Very simple. I don't like paying unnecessary stamp
Duty.
duty, and having a brand new property, it gives me benefits, depreciation, tax deductions.
Yeah.
I like them. So bought it 2023, 2026. I sold it.
Yeah.
It's just a little hunch I got. I thought, you know what, I'm going to sell it. But I'm doing other projects. So I
Yeah.
thought I need to do some recycling of my assets. So one of those properties. Funny thing about that property, I wasn't actually planning on selling. I was just checking the market with an agent.
Yeah.
An agent told me, Pramu, we don't have to list it. If it's okay with you, can I just advertise it to my database? I said, all right. How much will it cost me? Nothing. I said, okay, if you come up with a good price and we decide to sell it, what's your cost? Yep, no worries. Yeah, fair enough. Done. 2.5 weeks later, remember,
Yeah.
483 I bought it.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks later, I get an offer at 110K or something like that, around that. Right.
It's $227,000 that you made on that property.
3 years.
Yeah. And what was your deposit? Since we're
Yes.
talking numbers,
Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 10%.
10% deposit.
10% plus the stamp duty, which is would have been back then, the land would have cost maybe about 200,000 or something like that. That would have been what, 10K,
Yeah.
right? So 48, 58K. Maybe I would have 60. Just say $65,000 to make how much I'm making.
$227,000.
Tax office, you stop listening. They're going to be like, we need to get this guy. My accountants start doing your job now. Just kidding. There's going to be CGT. There's going to be CGT. But luckily, there's not going to be CGT because I didn't buy it under my personal name. So it was a very different structure. I done it. So, but the
That's because he has a really good financial planner.
there you go. Happens to be the wife.
Marketing again. Anybody else wants financial planning advice? You know who to call.
Yeah, but the thing is, the good thing about that property in 3 years, this is what it did.
And you're not the only one who bought that. You did recommend it to some of your very close clients and friends as well. So yeah.
Some of the friends, my oldest clients,
Yeah.
right? always follows me wherever I invest. They always follow me.
Yeah.
They're both right, and one of them, it's so funny. One of them want to sell at the time because there's a good timing for her to sell. Yeah, yeah, sell, brilliant timing, right? I think most likely she will do than me, right? Most likely
Yeah.
more than me, but
So, and just to give some context, how big was it was a 4 bedroom house, and how big was the land,
it's about 499 square meters.
and how
Under
yeah, and how far away from Ballarat, the capital, like the center of Ballarat, is it CBD? You would
oh,
say.
it's just what was that? 5-10 minutes away.
Yeah.
I would
So,
say.
I showed one of our clients
Yeah,
a property in Ballarat. This is it's about 35 minute. It's about a 30 to 35 minute drive away from the city,
yeah,
right? It's a 400 square meter land. It's a 4 bedroom house.
yeah,
It's priced at $732,000. So,
yeah.
you know,
There you go.
yeah,
It's a market.
this is the market. So,
Market. People are willing to pay that.
exactly.
People are willing to pay that. Now, this is the funny part. Um, year ago, probably a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, I would say, there was a rumor going on. Ballarat is done. That's it.
Mm.
Finish. Everyone who invested is going to lose money. People panic. They sold.
Yeah.
Right. I'm getting so many text messages from certain types of people as it, oh, I shouldn't have listened to you, this and that, this and that. So my reply is, hey, property is a long term play.
Investment. Exactly. You
Term play. If you would have won short term play,
go
you would
invest
have
in
won
invest in bit.
shares.
Yeah. Go invest in bitcoins.
There you go.
Right?
I mean, and manage funds.
Yeah.
There are so many other asset class we can invest. It's a long term. Calm down. Reap it first. Get all the benefits while you're at it. And who cares right now if the market is, they were panic sellers.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're there in every market, right?
You have to understand that particular point. There were quite a number of people were struggling to keep up their mortgage repayments due to the rates are going up.
Yeah.
Right. So they overcapitalize on their own occupied properties. It is nothing to do with the investment property. Investment property, the numbers we did were the same. The rate, the rental income, in fact, has gone up by then because the demand was high,
Yeah.
right? It's nothing to do with that. Everything to do with your planning, your budgeting. But then there were property gurus. It's the beauty, man.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Is the property gurus, the data buggers. Data buggers
The
come saying
the chat GPT legends,
different kinds of buggers out there, right? But this is beautiful, right? They're saying, oh, this you shouldn't have done. You shouldn't buy house and land. It doesn't work. It's a generalization of investment properties. Look, house and land option or buying off the plan is not for everybody. It's not, right? Then everybody can buy this now. Less stamp duty. You get depreciations, right? You get tax deductions. Everybody can buy it. It's not for everyone. It's actually for certain types of individuals and couples to do it. So then generalization comes in, all these things. And I'm sitting back and I'm wondering, okay, guess who's laughing very soon at this market? Because to be very honest with you, I am exiting on this market soon, but I'm not actually exiting on the market because I've got another property in that market. So I'm just cashing out for a certain other investment, this particular property, right? I mean, I would love to keep it with more because I know it's going to be
Yeah.
worth more. But again, the person who's going to buy, that person makes some money too, right? Not that greedy. But this is where I said, sometimes these data-based investments. I think I've done a episode some time ago. I think that's probably our season 1 about investor who's based on data only.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Data is good, but use it wisely. It doesn't apply for everything,
Yeah.
right? So, um, yeah. So I think we got sidetracked a
Yeah,
little
we
bit
we
on the property
we
because I
didn't
got
yeah we didn't just get sidetracked. We took the exit off the freeway and we went down
we
another
went down
another
a
road.
different.
Let's come back. So yeah, I mean, coming back to why it works, the pros,
Yeah,
building wealth. Well, you clearly built wealth
yeah.
on that,
No, no.
and
So, while you're renting where you live, you're not compromising your lifestyle. You're giving yourself a chance to
yeah,
uh, uh, create wealth through property.
and there are tax
Yeah,
benefits.
tax benefits. So through property, you get the interest, whatever the cost that you gonna absorb on the investment, that is tax deductible. If you happens to buy a brand new or own a property less than 3 years of age,
Yeah,
you'll get a good set of depreciation from it, right? Which means you're gonna have quite a number of. Uh, I mean, your tax returns are going to be very good if you have a good accountant.
yeah,
By the way, that's also very important.
a good accountant.
It's very important. If you have the wrong person, you're not going to have all these benefits. We better have a good accountant. And
Can they talk to us if they want a good accountant? TFS, can we help
I
them?
mean, we are not accountants,
Not yet,
but
but
we
we
can
can.
direct them into
Yeah,
some of the accountants that we have worked with,
trusted
uh,
accountants we work with. Yeah,
and who work very closely with our customers. We can definitely direct them to them. I mean, there's no financial benefit for us.
yeah,
Happy to do that, right? But then when it comes to the advantages of the rent vesting side of it, right? So I've talked about the benefits such as tax, blah blah blah.
we and also
Depreciation.
potential cash flow as well.
Yeah, see that's the thing. So when you start investing right, that'll also your capital growth. You can leverage, right? You can use that
Equity.
capital or equity to
Why?
go and reinvest in another property while you're still renting,
Yeah,
right? And you can play this game quite well. If you buy at certain types of properties, that can be a positive cash flow properties, which you are earning money.
money. Yeah,
Now, all of a sudden, that money can help you to pay your other things if needed.
yeah,
Right? So, advantages are
a lot. And
a lot.
like honestly, I think one of the main advantages of rent vesting would be the freedom and lifestyle. Because
Oh yeah,
now I have this thing in my head where I get fed up of things really fast, right? So now if I get fed up of where I'm living now, yeah, actually, I'm actually looking at moving to a different area.
are you
Yeah, maybe go back somewhere closer to the city.
okay?
Uh, so for a person like that, rent
Yep,
vesting is perfect because they're not tied down to one place. They can always move,
yep,
and there are enough and more properties to rent in the market,
absolutely.
right? So someone like that, or if someone who has the flexibility to work from home,
Mm,
right, where they don't have to
yeah,
go into a physical
yeah.
office, they can even rent in a different state.
This happens quite a lot in during COVID time, right?
Yeah,
Working from home came up
yeah,
during that
yeah.
time.
I know.
Wishy's golden era was during the
You know,
Wishy, what was it, Wishy's
working.
golden era of Wishy. If you go and Google this fellow, right, by the way, you could honestly Google this fellow, and this fellow will pop up in your TikTok and Instagram. His golden era is during COVID-19.
Uh,
that's
so,
that's that's what he did. So I believe that he came out as Sri Lankan Chris Tucker. That's the one. The one. Sri Lankan Chris Tucker. So he was doing. But during COVID-19, what happens? A lot of people started going and stay working from home. This is pretty much working from home situation, right? Except for construction workers and emergency, or what do you call them? Not emergency.
so, anyways, guys, the why I brought this topic up is because our boss really doesn't like the concept of working from home.
No, who told you that?
You don't like working from home.
Who-
You like coming to office in a suit, looking good,
Absolutely, because
new
well,
office in hot.
office is called an office. Try to push me all the time and get me agitated. So coming back to
Coming
this,
back.
right? Coming back to this,
Freedom,
working from home. Working from home during COVID-19, this happens. So people start working from home. Then people start realizing, oh, hang on, I like where I work. I like the location. Where can I invest? So rent vesting was actually big back then.
Back then during COVID. Yeah.
All the guys were renting near the city. I mean, city was a little bit dead, not big. I mean, everywhere was dead at a certain
Oh
point.
yeah, locked up in an
Uh,
apartment.
but then a lot of young couples, single um, uh, people who earns good money started investing.
Yeah.
So rent vesting was very popular back then, but even right now, it is very popular. But a lot of people don't talk about it because there's a lot of media coverage towards owning your home, buying your own Australian dream. Buy a house. This is for you. This and that. Not for everyone. No, no, as you said, Vishy, you want to come near to the city, right? Um, I mean, he will say that because office is located near the city, but I know why he's coming near the city. I'm not gonna drop all these things here.
I like the view in the city.
Yeah.
The scenery is good.
So anyway, so but that is the thing. It enables a person to live the way they want in their lifestyle while investing.
Yeah.
Right? Advantages are good. You want more? I think that,
Now,
that that'll
look,
be enough.
honestly, I think when we spoke about the cons, to me, if I was rent investing, one of the biggest cons would be the expenses. But then again, it gets justified because there are other benefits from getting an investment
Yeah.
property. I definitely think the benefits outweigh the pros outweigh the cons, right? That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But so for anyone who wants to know more promo or is seriously considering
Yeah.
getting into this niche of becoming a rent vested, can you call them a rent vestor? I don't know.
Yeah, you can call them an investor.
If
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
if you're an investor looking to become a rent vestor,
Yeah.
uh, what should they do, promo?
I mean, more than welcome to contact our team. We are more than happy to help you to actually do a structure that works for you,
Yeah.
for your requirements. Give you same information what we've given here. I mean, obviously, you can listen. Sorry, you can listen to this podcast and learn about the advantages and disadvantages. Um, but finding the right property, structuring your investment loan in the correct way for you to have benefits. I'm more than happy to help you to do that. And obviously, my team and we always work together. So we always welcome new people, new ways of thinking patterns as well. So obviously, if you want more information, do not afraid to call us, send a message, go to website, put a note, and one of our guys will always call you. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
we are here to help.
Thank you. And with that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in to episode number 9 of the TFS Wealthcast. Today's episode was rent vesting, live where you love, invest where you can. And on this note, Promo, I think on the topic of rent vesting,
Mhm.
right, and investment properties, we can tell them about our next episode, which is going to be utilizing the concept of debt recycling.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Next one, we're trying to bring Sonali into this one. Debt recycling. We thought she'll be the best person to explain and do this episode to give information about debt recycling from the financial planning
Planning,
perspective.
exactly.
Right,
Because she's a
that is
qualified.
very important because a
She's
lot of mortgage brokers, a lot of bankers talking about this debt recycling, but what we believe debt recycling should come from a financial
planner,
planner.
exactly. Someone
Right.
who's studied that
Yeah.
and who knows the concept
Yeah.
and who's doing it herself.
That's what they do.
I mean,
Right.
you're doing it yourself because your wife is doing it for you guys.
There you go. Yeah. So I reckon that'll be a cool one.
Done. So we need to get Sonali on the next episode.
Next episode, Sonal will be there, and then there are going to be a couple of cool episodes coming up, fellas. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys, and we
Gen,
catch you on the
Gen Z.
Gen
I'm
Z.
gonna
Oh,
come
there we
back.
go. That's gonna,
That's one of the episode I'm looking
that's
forward
coming.
to.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Definitely doing that with
Baby,
which
a baby.
he thinks he's not a Gen Z. This is gonna be very, 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 very cool. He thinks he's not a Gen Z. I think he thinks that he's a Gen X.
No, I think I'm a millennial. You know,
Like, oh, so not Gen X. You think you're a millennial?
millennial. Yeah.
You're not, right? Okay.
All right, baby boomer.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Baby people, dude, I'm a millennial. What are you talking about?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the TFS podcast, where we turn knowledge into action and big goals into real results. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this episode with someone working towards their next financial step. Now, with that being said, until next time, keep building.